Hey, good morning. It's time for the Morning Mindset from livebuildchange.com. My name is Kerry Green, and I am the guy who got the crazy idea in my head to do this every single morning. And so far, I am just loving it. I hope it is benefiting you. If you are getting something out of these things, I'd love to hear some of the stories, some of the specifics of how this is helping you. You can either find me on Facebook and find one of these posts and leave a comment, or you can send me an email. That's Kerry, Carey, at livebuildchange.com. Now let's get into this morning's Morning Mindset. And the purpose of doing this in the first place is to make sure we are thinking the way that God intends for us to be thinking. To make sure that we are living life according to what He says is truth. Because what He says is truth is what matters. It's the real truth. I mean, there's lots of things out there that are true. I mean, like gravity, the law of gravity. Like, if you punch somebody, it's going to hurt them. Those kinds of things. But I'm talking about the kind of truth that affects your beliefs. The beliefs about who you are, about what the world is like, about who God is in your life and how you're to live as a result, about your identity as a follower of Christ. Those truths really make an impact on the way that you live. And so we're looking at Colossians chapter 2 to gain some insight into some of these kinds of truths. And Paul was praying for these people in a church in a place called Colossae. And he prayed, first of all, that they would be filled with the knowledge of God's will and would have the spiritual wisdom and understanding to understand that. And he says out of that, they will be enabled to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, so to live a life that pleases Him, bearing fruit in every good work. And then in verse 11, he follows on with another thing that comes out of being filled with the knowledge of God's will. And he says that they will be strengthened with all power according to God's glorious might for all endurance and patience with joy. Now that's where we're stopping today because there's so much in that phrase. He says, when you know God's will through the spiritual wisdom and understanding that He provides, it's not something you work up, it's something He provides for you. And so that means you should be praying for that for yourself and for your loved one. Be asking God to give you that. And He's not one to be a miser when it comes to giving out His wisdom and His knowledge. He loves to give it. But He says when you do that, you are strengthened with all power according to God's glorious might. Now, I've talked about this before in a Morning Mindset, but there's a difference between someone giving to you out of what they have and giving according to what they have. When they give out of what they have, they just give you a part of it. But when they give you according to what they have, they're giving in a percentage kind of a way. They're giving, it's hard to even describe. They're giving you in proportion to what they have. So according to gifts are greater than out of gifts. And he says here, God will strengthen us with all power according to His glorious might. So what kind of might does He have? It's glorious. It's amazing. It's the greatest might that could ever be. And He says He will give us all power according to that glorious might. So knowing God's will and understanding it and how it applies to your life and living that out gives us an incredible power for living, an incredible confidence for living. And what it's for, Paul says, is that we can then endure and exercise patience, and to do so with joy. Man, those are qualities we definitely need. We need endurance in the sorry kind of a world that we live in sometimes. We need patience as we deal with others who are on this road toward being glorified in Christ, and we're disappointed at times or hurt at other times. We need patience. And he's saying that glorious might, that glorious power that He wants to give us, gives us endurance, and it gives us patience. And even greater, it gives us the ability to endure and to be patient with an attitude of joy. Right now, stop and think about the day ahead of you and ask God for that kind of glorious power that will give you endurance and will give you patience, and most of all, will give you joy today. Because you know the King of the universe is behind you. He's got your back. This is His day, so go live it in His power. I'll talk to you tomorrow on the next Morning Mindset.